PlayStation Drive is starting. While you wait, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon on YouTube to be notified of future goodness. If you enjoy our show, we'd love it if you gave us a 5-star review or rating on your podcast service of choice. To continue the conversation, join the Carpool Gaming Discord, where you can find a wholesome community to have a chit-chat with. For some exclusive content, you can also support us on Patreon. And finally, don't forget to check out the Carpool Gaming website for an awesome range of merch. Links to all that and more are in the show notes, but without further ado, let's get revved up for the PlayStation Drive. Whoa!
Well, hello, weary travelers. Welcome on in to the your Saturday night special, aka the PlayStation Drive episode 138. Of course, I am one of your hosts, the meteorologist on the Moose, Ryan Durford. But I am joined, as always, by Fulia, Ron, and Matt. How's everyone today? How's everyone feeling?
Good.
Excited. Great.
Yeah. Everyone ready to talk some PlayStation?
Of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
And Xbox.
Xbox. There is that. We are going to talk about the old Xbox tonight, but of course, if people are watching the video version, you might be hearing the echo that I'm suddenly noticing as I speak. I'm in a different location. I'm not in my old apartment. I'm in a different apartment, and it's just so much more barren and dark than my old apartment ever was before. Because look how dark it is in here. I need to do something about this at some point. But the move. I know people were about to ask. Move went well. It was a lot of work. I was hurt the whole time, so I felt bad because I barely could do much of anything. But my family was there to help me out, and it all went pretty smoothly. So I'm just glad it's finally over. I still need to unpack everything because there's a lot of my stuff still in boxes over there. But it's exciting. Things are exciting.
Yay!
Good.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the move.
Yeah. Thanks, man. But without further ado, we should probably get into this. But before we do that, we've got to do that. Housekeeping. Of course, we got new patrons joining us over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. We got Daryl Erdman who checked out the 7-day free trial to the exclusive tier. So welcome on in, Daryl. I hope you enjoy all that cool and exclusive content like the Patreon podcast for patrons podcast, Sweet Hangs, It Could Be Anything, and a whole lot more. And also Josh Coultier, who was in the free trial last week when we talked, now just decided to jump into the exclusive tier. The free trial's over, and Josh decided to stay on. So huge thank you to Josh, Daryl, as well, all of our patrons for supporting the show. Y'all rock. Thank you for that. And again, if you want to hop in the car with us, head over to patreon.com/carpoolgaming and choose the tier that's right for you. Well, without further ado, let's grab our 8 tracks, pop them in. It's time for the playlist because we got to talk about games, y'all. I'm excited to talk about games. I've been moving boxes and stuff, and I'm just ready to talk about games with y'all. So we're gonna start with Matt. What'd you play, man?
I finally rolled credits on Callisto Protocol last night. It's good. It's not the best survival horror game I've played, but it's also not as bad as everybody says. I don't know if there's a huge difference from the game now versus launch. I'm sure there were patches and some changes to it, but overall, it is a very fun, it's like a boxing game with monsters in outer space. It's really not a scary game at all. Like the atmosphere is, it's very, how do I describe it? It's very wet. Everything is always gooey and slimy, and everything looks the same. Everything looks the same, no matter which location you go. Yeah.
Everything has the same aesthetic. Wet. Excellent.
Yeah. So, despite its flaws, it's still a good time that had to be fun. Now, the only thing that my critique of it was, you get all the fun stuff near the end of the game, and I wish that you could progress faster. Because, like I mentioned, it's a boxing game, so there is a dodge mechanic, and it's not like a Horizon Zero Dawn dodge mechanic where you roll away, you just kind of swing back so you don't get punched in the face. So that mechanic works really well one-on-one, maybe one-on-two. But halfway through the game, you're taking on 6 of them. When you dodge, you're just dodging yourself into another punch. So it doesn't really work that well at that point. But near the end game, you get like massive upgrades to like your swings. Like you can upgrade your baton so that if the enemy blocks, like you actually break their arm. So it's really satisfying to do. And then you can also upgrade your weapons, like your shotguns, to plow people over. So again, it's kind of disappointing that it's only near the end of the game where you kind of need it through the halfway point. But overall, I mean, if you get it for free 99 like I did on PS Plus or anything cheaper, it's fun and it's short. Like it doesn't overstay its welcome. Like if it was 20 hours, it would have been a slog, but I think I did it like in 7, 8 hours. And then the other game I started just half an hour ago was Wizard with a Gun, which is the new game that Bowsah from the Xbox Drive picked for the backtrackers. Just played about 15 minutes, so I can't really talk too much about it. It's well, you're a wizard with a gun, and you're shooting stuff, and I think it's like top-down dungeon crawling. But again, I'll give an update next time when I play. Has anybody else here played Wizard with a Gun or
Nope.
Nope.
nobody?
That sounds like a Marcus O'Neill game, though.
You know what's funny when you say that? Ron knows me very well. Like the first thing I do when I go into games is like I check the difficulty settings to see if there's an option to drop it down. There's no option. So I was kind of already nervous. I was like, okay,
What?
this gets a bit hard. It's all in because
Well, there you go. You got no choice but to stick with it now.
There's no story mode for me. It's just shooting or dying. We'll see what happens.
Well, there's a third option. You yourself become a wizard to then overcome the challenges of Wizards with a Gun.
Am I worthy to be a wizard? Am I a wizard?
You could be. You just
gotta
gotta
ask Kevin. Kevin's the wizard. So if he approves,
or
then yeah.
you go to the wise sage that is Seth.
Yeah.
Okay. Two options.
Beard.
But that's what I've been playing.
Yeah. You do know you're on the podcast with the level 99 Archmage, right? Like I'm right here. And you mentioned two other people, but you didn't mention me, and I'm like literally right here.
Level 99, like S tier.
Well, actually, we evolved on that show. I'm now a level 199 Dark Lord because I'm basically an evil wizard now.
Oh,
that's just my character. Because that's the most fitting Ryan Turford thing. Like, I don't know if y'all follow card games at all, but Magic the Gathering is doing this crossover with Fallout, and they have these new Fallout cards that are coming out next month. And one of the cards is the Fate of Megaton, and it gives you two choices on the card, whether to disarm the bomb and you destroy like an artifact card, or destroy Megaton and it just destroys all the creature. It's like so flavorful, and I'm like, I know what you like. I already know which option I pick every single time, which is just destroy Megaton because I'm that person.
Love it.
Yeah. Good God. Anyways, Ron, what about you? What'd you play?
Still going through Ragnarok. I got a new weapon, and I've been doing some challenge stuff. I was doing that before we got on, and yeah, game is still rolling. Still right on that level with the first God of War 2018 to me. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Played a little bit of Horizon 5. Didn't make too much progress in that, but I got a new car. Can't remember what it was. It was an old beat up truck. I was like, why are you giving me this? I'll never use it. But I'm still having a good time with that too, though.
Nice. I mean, it's that's kind of the equivalent to Gran Turismo 7 giving you like the Land Rover or like a tractor or like one of the cars from like the 1930s or something like that. You're like, this is cool and all, but like I'll never drive this because it like can't compete with cars made in the 50s, let alone after that.
Yeah, not happening.
Yeah, nice. What about you, Fully? I've seen some interesting selections on your list here.
Yes. I'm gonna start off with the fact with a non-PlayStation game that I've been playing. And that's Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Not the hot potato.
Oh
My goodness.
I never played the original. Never played the original, and I wasn't expecting much out of this, but then I saw the demo and I'm like, okay. Yeah. I pre-ordered it because I wasn't sure what to expect from it, but I've been playing it in handheld mode while I've been watching stuff on the TV, and I've been really enjoying it. It's actually really good fun. It's very cute and it's not as hard as I thought it was going to be in terms of its puzzles. So yeah, just running on classic mode, and it's actually good fun. I'm really enjoying it. Currently just finished off World 3. I'm now in World 4. So,
Nice. Now,
That's been
quick
pretty
question for you, Fulia.
yes.
Have you ever played Donkey Kong 94 on the Game Boy?
I never owned a Game Boy.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, like, if that ever comes to Switch Online and you like Mario versus Donkey Kong, that's what you should play next. Because Donkey Kong
Okay.
94 is basically the game that inspired Mario versus Donkey Kong. But I actually think that game holds up so well today that I think it's actually better than any of the Mario versus Donkey Kong games. So it's definitely one to check out, like, if it ever comes to the Game Boy section on Switch Online. I hope they bring it at some point, because, like, I'm actually kind of surprised it's not there already. But in that game, it kind of starts off and it's the first 4 levels of the Donkey Kong arcade machine. But then after that, it transitions into the puzzle platforming that you have in Mario versus Donkey Kong. And it's really good. So just want to give that shout out to Donkey Kong 94. But anyways, continue. Oh, Ron has a question from the press pool.
I do. Koala. That is the wrong cover art. Antics showed me the correct one. There's Koala versus Donkey Kong. I wish we could see that. He showed me that, and I died.
I need to see this.
I mean, I could bring it up and show you all in a little screen share. It's actually really cute because Antics, who is one of my mods on my channel, decided that he had to create a little cover art for me.
We need to see this.
It's fantastic.
We need to see this.
It's fantastic.
And I like it. It's really cute. Although I don't know if it'll let me do.
Is it like a drop bear?
Hold on. No,
it's a koala.
Hold on. You'll see it in a second. Hold on. I'll share. There it is.
I have to load it up on the screen. So there it is.
That's amazing.
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh. I love
best.
it so much.
Nice.
While I was streaming it today too, Antic was like, "Oh, I have a little surprise for you."
Yeah, it was perfect.
It's so good.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's pretty much what what I've been playing. Non-PlayStation side of things. PlayStation side of things, I did play through and finished the story of Harmony: The Fall of Reverie. It is done. I now need to go back and play it in my own time and clean up and get the platinum.
Hashtag platinum queen.
Which I'm I think 8+ platinum away from like collecting all the trophies for that.
Just 8.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Easy.
honestly, this game, like I say just 8, but those particular trophies are set to specific things from the game that you have to follow in order to unlock them, because it's a choice matters, like it's an interactive story, and depending on what pathway you take, that's when you'll end up popping those trophies, because you have to collect certain crystals, you have to follow a certain pathway and all that sort of stuff. So it's a really interesting story. It is, I'm going to say overall, the story is drama based. It is very drama. There is some humor elements in it as well. But it's mostly a drama. It's a lot about like this. It's got some heavy topics in it. Like it's got grief and loss. It talks about, political and government sort of organizations and corruption and all that sort of stuff. There's riots and all that. So it's a heavy story, but it's so interesting, and it really immerses you into it. And I loved it so much. So I am definitely going to be playing through that maybe once or twice through, because I feel like there's going to be multiple different endings, like in terms of how they end. So I definitely want to see what those endings are and what the other pathways and outcomes are. So I'm really looking forward to replaying it. So replayability is a big tick if you want to check that one out as well. And then the last thing I'll mention that I've actually played a little bit of this week, I didn't have much time, was Aiden Chronicle Rising. Managed to play through a bit more of that. Or really enjoying the story so far. Already come across a husbando.
Nice. Nice.
Tell us more.
Always good to have
Tell us
those.
more. Tell us more about this
Matt's
Bondo.
just like, I need details.
Pull up a picture. Come on, or paint us a picture.
Yeah, you didn't put nothing in the M2 chat. This is a surprise.
No, look, here's the thing. Like, I've only come across him for the first time. And like, there's only been a couple of occasions. His name is, I think it's Iugo?
Okay.
You go. All right.
Yeah, it figures.
Yeah.
That's her type.
Okay.
There it is. So there. that's the
right.
character I've come across. He looks pretty cool.
He's a looker.
Yeah.
What's he like? Is he nice?
Well, he seems to be kind of like a leader of a crew or something like that. Like he's one of the good guys in the story. And
Or so you think.
Yeah, well, so I think.
Yeah. You never know. You never know.
For now, he's a good guy. But yeah, no, he seems pretty cool. I need to play through a bit more of the story because he didn't pop in at the start. He's like a little bit further into the story. So that's kind of interesting. But with the fact that I'm really enjoying this particular story, I'm like, yeah, I think I need to go and pre-order 100 Heroes.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I pre-ordered it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
RPG Queen.
This is
Yeah.
excellent.
Although it is also on Game Pass as well. Just throwing it out there as well. But
Koala, don't be a
That's all right.
sellout.
Yes.
Play it on PlayStation and get the platinum. don't do
Wow.
this. We don't do that here. We don't do that here.
We do that here. I
Ron,
do
if it
that.
makes you feel better, I'm totally playing it on Game Pass.
Game Pass.
100% I'm playing it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
It's okay. Free 99. It's all right.
Yeah.
I
Can't
can't
beat
argue.
But you
with
can't get a platinum on there. You gotta do it, Koala.
Yeah.
Look, I
Who
don't
knows?
have I don't have Game Pass at the moment. I kind of canceled my subscription after a while. So
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
like
To be
a true
fair,
PlayStation player. Yeah.
to be fair, I am actually canceling my subscription when I'm just letting it lapse. And I think it
Yeah.
expires.
Yes.
June.
So it'll just be
Although-
me.
Although full
Kick that.
disclosure, I was also getting it for free, thanks to our friends over at Xbox, handed over on the Xbox Drive. So there's also that plays into it
Yeah.
a little bit. But
Matt, you're the only one.
I'm okay.
No.
Trust
Okay
me.
with like buying some of those Xbox games anyway, just outright, because I know a lot of them aren't really that expensive, and
Yeah.
I can just as easily get gift cards that I can load up, and it'll be fine.
no, and sometimes it's just good to just support the developers, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
just,
Exactly.
like sometimes we'll come across codes for certain games, and for especially smaller games and stuff, and if we don't get them till the day of the release, I'm like, well, I'd rather just support the developers and just buy the
Yeah.
game at that point,
Yep.
right? So
Yeah, same.
yeah, I think that plays a little bit into that decision, but I'm
Yeah.
glad you're enjoying it because even though I didn't love the combat, and I do think the story elements are pretty good in Rising, and I'm also pretty excited for 100 Heroes, so I'm glad you're excited about it, Fulia. I'm glad the game won you over a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
RPG's life. Mhm.
speaking of RPG life, segue.
Oh yes.
It's time for my list, y'all. Now, mind
Here we
you,
go.
my list is long, despite the fact that I moved this week because 3 of the 4 of these I played today before we started podcasting. Because for the most part this week, I barely had any time for games at all, other than Monday. So I really, dove into some more Persona 3 Reload. I'm in September is where I'm currently at, and I haven't really budged much since there because I haven't played the game basically in almost a week because I just haven't been able to. But hopefully tomorrow I'll have time to jump more into it because I want to get to the end of that game before next week is what I'm kind of targeting for that. And I'm really still enjoying it. So I'm excited to get back to it, but so far so good with that game. Don't really have anything new to say about it, but I played 3 demos this week, y'all. 3 demos.
I know what
today.
one of them are.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
I mean, you're in the document and literally all of them are listed right there. So first of all, I played the updated Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo with the Junon expansion part to it, where you get to go explore outside of Junon, and then you fight a big boss, and then you go up to Junon. You have this dolphin mini game. It was more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It was fun. It was fine. But I'm already pretty sold on the game at this point, especially after the reviews came out this week, and it's like the highest rated game of this year. And at this point, at this point, I would be. At this point, I would be very surprised if another game outscored it this year. So I'm already pretty excited for 7 Rebirth. So the game didn't need to sell me anymore, but the demo extra part with Junon was pretty solid and fun. And I loved seeing kind of what they added to the Junon area, but also getting a chance to play with the open world a little bit, because it could let you, explore the open area outside of Junon, because there's like a bunch of different side quests and other villages and other places you can go to. Like there's like a chocobo ranch you can go to, and there's a bunch of, cool characters there. So I really enjoyed what they had with that second slice of the game. And of course, Seven Rebirth is out next week, and I'm excited for it. But these other two demos, though, got me even more excited, because Contra Operation Galuga dropped its demo this week. Now, here's the thing. I'm a pretty big fan of the old Contra games, going all the way back to the NES. You've also got, Super Contra, Contra Hardcore. Like, I really like the Contra games. They're fun, like run and gun style, action platforming games. They're very hard. That's always kind of been their shtick. But Contra over the last, 15 years has kind of had like a really bad downfall. Like all the Contra games they've released since Contra 4 on the DS have been terrible, to the point where we had like one of the worst games of the PS4 generation, which was the Contra game that came out on that platform. So I was actually pretty down on this one, because in the trailers, they'd only ever really showed this game during like Nintendo Directs. So it was always like the Switch version of the game. The Switch version of the game, from what we've seen from other people who played the demo, looks really rough. But downloading the demo on PlayStation, it ran super well at like 60 frames per second. Sure, it's not the most visually pleasing game in the world, but I don't expect it to be, because it's Contra. It's very much going for that old school feel. And it's basically trying to be a remake of the original Contra game. But it's developed by Ray Ford, who of course does the Shantae games, but more importantly, they also developed the last good Contra game, Contra 4. So with all that said, this demo actually really sold me on the game in a big way. I actually had a ton of fun playing the demo. Like, I couldn't put it down until I got to the end. And there's a lot of replayability even in the demo, because you can run through the couple levels that it gives you in like this arcade mode, but then there's also the story mode. And in arcade mode, you have like 5 different characters to choose from, and they all have different abilities. And like, dude, this game feels like it's actually going to be a pretty good game when it comes out. Like, I'm surprised. Like, I did not have this one on my radar as something to be excited about, because of, past Contra games have not been good. But, Contra Operation Galuga, if the full game is as fun as the demo is, I think this game is going to be pretty fun. I can't wait to check this one out. So I think it comes out pretty soon as well. So this might be a game that I kind of wait a little bit to pick up, because there are a lot of games coming out right now, like the next game I'm about to talk about. But this game, very, very solid. And then finally, the boys and girls, the time has come. The moment is here. The Unicorn Overlord demo is out. I played it.
That's what
Good golly.
Tell me all about it.
Yeah. So first off,
how good is it?
First off, people don't know Unicorn Overlord is the new game from Vanillaware. Of course, they developed 13 Sentinels and Dragon's Crown and Muramasa the Demon Blade, but they're mostly known for like action games, other than 13 Sentinels, which is more of like a, strategy role-playing game slash, visual novel in a lot of ways. But this game, Unicorn Overlord, mixes a lot of, different, strategy role-playing genres together. It feels like Fire Emblem mashed up with like a real-time strategy game. And it all comes together in this really cohesive and interesting way. Also, because it's a Vanillaware game, hand-drawn animation looks incredible, like especially playing on the PS5. Even just the opening cutscene it has, where you're starting out the game, and it starts off in this lightning storm, and you seeing like the lightning kind of crash down in the background while the rain is kind of like dropping on the characters' faces. And even though they're 2D characters, all that stuff is just really well animated. Like, this is a gorgeous game, like one of the prettiest games on the PlayStation 5, combined with the fact that it's got rock solid role-playing action. I didn't spend too much time with the demo, because it gives you like 7 hours with the demo if you want to just play through it, and your progress carries over to the main game. So you're basically playing the first 7 hours and then carrying over to the game for free, which is super awesome. Like, dude, like, I was already excited for Unicorn Overlord. People who know me know that this was a game I was already high on my radar, but like, after playing this demo, I'm like, it shot pretty high up there. Like it's probably my most anticipated game of the year at this point that I know of.
Wow.
So Unicorn Overlord, I can't wait for the full release on March 8th, I believe. So it's coming out like in like 3 weeks. And like, dude, this game is so awesome. I can't wait to play the full game and to play with it more. Cause like I could even, toy with the demo between now and then. Cause again, anytime you save, the save progress carries over. And yeah, it just basically, there's no limits. It downloads the full game and just lets you play for 8 hours because there's like a play timer on it. So like however long you can actually jam in there, like that's how much you can play with it. So if people want to get a head start on Unicorn Overlord, if you're like Lachlan here, who in the chat mentions that she just downloaded the demo, definitely give it a try because it's really, really solid.
I am kind of keen on checking out the demo.
Ooh, yes, Julia. Yes.
RPG queen.
Yes.
This is
I think I'm
amazing.
going
Awesome.
to check out the
This is
demo.
amazing.
Yep.
Elden Ring is next. Elden Ring is
Oh,
next.
It
There are limits.
I wouldn't hold your breath for that.
Oh,
No, play Unicorn Overlord first. It's better than Elden Ring, I think.
Oh.
Whoa.
Also-
Whoa.
Also, I'm someone who likes Elden Ring but doesn't love it. So, but we'll talk about it. We'll talk about Elden Ring another day. But pretty soon, this might be the official Unicorn Overlord podcast with all of us playing it down the road. So
I don't even need the demo. I'm already in for it. So,
the wheels already picked it at this point, Ron. It's happening.
hey,
Lachlan
it's
is
fine
right.
with me.
Yeah.
Lockliff, how dare you?
For the audio listeners, Lachlan
I
says
can't believe she said that.
Elden Ring is cheeks, according to Lachlan.
Blasphemy.
Yeah.
Wow. How does it feel, Ron?
Because his lock is cool. It's all right.
Oh,
It's all right.
okay.
Oh,
I
I
see.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
When Lachlan
Yeah.
says it.
Yeah,
it's
because his
uncool.
lock, it's all right.
Yeah.
Total pass.
It's 'cause
She's good.
Oh,
It's because she's
Yeah,
not
but
actually
when
on the podcast with you every week. That's the real problem.
Favoritism.
yeah, but when I say Citizen Sleepers is cheeks, Matt, how dare you? We're
Yeah.
not friends anymore.
Matt, don't ever say that again.
See? Look at this.
Shame on you.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Seth just confirming Lothcliffe can get away with
Oh,
literally
here comes the
anything.
Ghost of Tsushima hater. Oh,
Oh boy. See? The
When did he
favoritism
get
for
here?
Lachlan. Proven over and over again.
Anyways, see, Fulia knew it was coming. Fulia knew it was coming. We need to move on because it's almost time to talk about Pepsi Man. I mean, the topic of the week. Topic of the week. Today's topic of the week is Xbox games are officially on PlayStation, folks. So, patting down the hatches. Of course, we wanted to not talk about this until the announcement was official. Because like we knew a couple weeks ago that this was happening, but we didn't have the official games or when they were coming out or anything like that. But I felt like this was the time to have the conversation about for Xbox Game Studios games coming to PlayStation. Now, obviously, this is the first time we've had Microsoft published games come to PlayStation. We've had Cuphead as well as Dusk Falls is coming out next month. But here are the 4 games. Of course, we got Pentiment, which is out right meow. We've got Hi-Fi Rush coming out March 19th, Grounded on April 16th, and Sea of Thieves on April 30th. I mean, yeah, Seth, of course, already chiming in, saying everyone should play Hi-Fi Rush.
Everybody purchase Pentiment.
That's not true. If you don't have good rhythm like I do, you should not play Hi-Fi Rush. You feel poorly about it yourself. So not everybody, Seth. Not everybody.
I was gonna say, like, that's the type of game where like you kind of have to be at least a little into rhythm games to be into that game, I think. But
You have a poor sense of rhythm.
yeah. I know people were acting like before this happened, like the sky was falling and like all these crazy exclusives were coming. But I feel like this is a pretty good list of games.
That's
Like
fine.
they're all games that really aren't going to continue to move the needle on Xbox. So I think it's totally cool that they're on PlayStation. But we as a PlayStation podcast, I want to know from us, like, are any of y'all like thinking of double dipping? Like, Matt, I know you're currently not buying games right now. But if you were going to be buying games, like if this was a normal year for you, would normal Matt be picking up any of these games, or would you be excited about picking up any of these games and double dipping a little bit?
If I didn't have, if it was a normal year and if I didn't have Game Pass, then, or even if I did have Game Pass, would I double dip? I might, and it depends on which game. So obviously, Hi-Fi Rush wouldn't be the one I double dip. Even with playing accessibility features, I still couldn't get past. I still couldn't get past like after 2 hours because it just wasn't a good feeling for me. I don't really play a lot of multiplayer games, so I probably wouldn't play Grounded or Sea of Thieves unless Ron hits me up and he's like, let's play our favorite game. Let's set the sails on the high seas." Then I'll do it for Ron because I know he loves that game.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so if I,
The slander.
anytime you want to play, Ron, let me know.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, so out of the four, I think the one that I would double dip for would be Pentiment, just because I do like Obsidian games. And again, I don't know if I would like it, but I would like to at least try, and given my track record with other Obsidian games, that's the one I would double dip. But it's just honestly, this news, it's exciting to see. You know, without innovation, things don't move forward. So I'm glad that Microsoft took like a good critical look at how business is going and what the future looks like, and was able to pivot and make a change to traditional video game console business operations and said, look, these games aren't selling anymore on Xbox or not moving more Game Pass subscriptions. Let's put them on other platforms. And truthfully, PlayStation's already done that a little bit, right? Like PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, we didn't see that many of their games, or if any of their games go on PC. And now look at all the first party games that come to PC, right? Like, because I think the companies are seeing that they need to maximize their profits more efficiently. So I think it's a good thing. Nintendo's quite stubborn and traditional for now, so we'll see how things go. But I'm happy to see it. I mean, more people get to play. It means this will help business for Microsoft and keep things moving forward. And things are changing. Like, it's not the 1990s, it's not the early 2000s. Good God, it's not even the 2010s, which sounds so weird to say. So you have to be innovative. So I'm glad to see Microsoft make some changes, and I do hope that other companies follow suit as well.
Yeah. When you bring up a good point too, because that brings us back to last week's conversation. We were talking about Hiroki Totoki's comments about how PlayStation needs to evolve in that way, where the whole industry is really evolving. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if PlayStation brings some of their smaller exclusives other places too, even if it's just Switch and not even Xbox at this point. But Ron, I have to throw this chat question in here, or chat comment here. This is from Seth. He says, maybe I can get into Ron's good graces again by playing Pentiment. What do you think about this comment?
I can't put Pentiment.
What if he gets the platinum?
I can't get.
What if he gets the platinum though?
Nope. I can't put Pentiment over Ghost.
Wow.
Ghost is the GOAT. So no, it's not going to work, Seth.
I tried.
It's not going to work.
Wow.
I still love you though.
Nice. Well, what about you, Ron? What do you? Are there any of these that you would consider double dipping on, or are you mostly just excited that they're here?
Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment are definitely getting purchased. I mean, I own the Steam version and the Xbox version of Pentiment, but I have no problem giving Obsidian more money, so I'll buy it again. Hi-Fi Rush I haven't bought yet, but I did have it on the Xbox wish list, but now I wish listed it on PlayStation, so it gets to a decent sale. I'll grab it up.
Nice. Well, actually, like, I don't know if you saw the prices of these, but like, they're fairly cheap. Like, Hi-Fi Rush, I think, is like $29 American or $35 Canadian at this point.
I'm just very unsure on that one. I just rhythm based. It's just like, so I'd rather get a little bit lower before I sit there and purchase that, just in case.
Yeah, Pentiment, like, I agree with you on that one. Pentiment,
I'm all in on that.
I love that game. So, although the platinum for that, of course, will be ridiculous. Like, the 1,000 gamer score is on Xbox.
Yeah, I looked at it and I was like,
you basically have to play through the game like 15 times.
It's gonna be a long one.
It's ridiculous. But
nobody got time for that.
Yeah. Whereas Fulia, RPG Queen. What about you? Do any of these games do anything for you?
I feel like I don't deserve those titles because I don't think I've gotten enough. I've played enough in order to get those titles. Anyway.
You're right. We'll continue to just only refer to you as the Platinum Queen. Since
not even that.
Why? How many platinums do you have? Come on, stop this.
Only 4.
Still on 0.
But how many did you
0?
Yeah, I'm still on 0 as well. Still on the goose egg. Although Persona 3, I should have the platinum for next week.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I still don't deserve it. Anyway, out of these games, I think the only one that really strikes my interest is Pentiment. Just because of the art style looks really interesting. And I feel like the story would be pretty cool too. So I mean, on the Australian side of things, it's $29.95, so it's actually not too bad.
Okay.
So I might check it out, only because, I mean, even though I did have a Game Pass when just never really got around to playing them because I just wasn't really interested at the time. But maybe now, now that it's more accessible on other platforms, I think it's intrigued me a little bit more to check it out. Hi-Fi Rush. I love rhythm games. I don't do rhythm shooty games.
Okay.
I feel
okay.
that's
I see what you're
rhythm
saying.
games I can play, it's fine. But when it's rhythm plus shooter,
Well, it's not really a shooter. You're bashing things
It's
with like your
It's
controller.
melee. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's melee.
yeah, I feel like that for me would be a bit little overwhelming. So
Okay.
to be able to time it right to the music and while you're doing all the battles and stuff, it feels like a bit much for me.
Yeah, because it's basically like, and Seth brings up a good point here. It's basically a rhythm hack and slash. It's rhythm Final Fantasy 16 in a lot of ways. Just without the
Seth, I'm
RPG
sorry, I
stuff.
can't think Devil May Cry. I've never played it.
Well,
Oh,
again,
you ever
that's
played
why I
Devil
brought
May
up
Cry?
Final Fantasy 16
Wow.
because Final Fantasy 16 very similar to Devil May Cry and
Okay.
also does.
Yes, just evade. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, just evade.
Just
Evade.
dodge. Just roll.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
evade according to the music. Yeah, for me, like I don't know if I'm gonna pick any of these up just because I have played through all of them already. Hi-Fi Rush, maybe. Pentiment, it's like Pentiment was such a special game to me when I reviewed it that like it's one of those games kind of like The Last of Us is for me too, where like I was very content and happy with my one playthrough, and like I don't want to go back and play that again. Like that's not the type of game that I like to replay over and over again. So like if I could like do the Men in Black kind of mind wipe thing and then kind of start over with like a fresh brain with Pentiment, I would absolutely go through that experience again 100% because I loved it. But it's one of those special games to me where it's like I only really needed to finish it once and probably never go through it again. But there are like a bajillion different endings to Pentiment, or like a bunch of different ways the story and stuff can go in ways that I just never expected. And it's like super cool for that. So there is a lot of replayability if you're into that. But yeah, Hi-Fi Rush would be the only one I think, because Grounded and Sea of Thieves, I'm kind of like y'all, not really much of a multiplayer guy, except for MMOs or live service games, and I hate pirates, so there's that too.
That's right.
So you didn't like
No
Black
pirates.
Flag, I'm assuming.
No, it's one of my least favorite Assassin's Creed games.
Really?
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Wow. Wow.
Because of the pirates.
Yeah, all because
Well,
of
yeah.
pirates.
Wow.
I'm surprised Fulia doesn't want to play Grounded. Like the giant insects, not interested at all.
Yeah.
Even a little
Spiders?
No, thank you. I'm good.
Should you be used
I
to
don't,
that?
I
All
don't,
these
I
crazy
don't know.
spiders in
I don't
Australia.
need, shut up, Ron. I really don't. I don't need to be freaked out by things that are bigger than me when they already freak me out, even though they're smaller than me.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, you can get chased around by giant bees, and it's great. It's just lovely.
No,
And
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Oh, okay.
yeah. No,
It seems like a bit of a horror game to me. So no, thank you. I don't
It
do
is a
survival
little bit.
games.
At least,
Well, that's
at least
Matt's
it's got
favorite
like,
genre.
yeah, exactly. At least it's got like the filters where like there's a spider filter where you can make the
There
spiders
is.
just like blobs, like cute little blobs instead of actual.
Oh,
spiders.
really?
Yeah.
Even then,
Yeah,
It's
like it
just
removes
nice
their
feature.
legs and everything. Like they're basically just like floating blobs with like smiley faces. They follow you around.
Actually, sounds more scary that way. Actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
well,
I'm
they
afraid of
murder you.
spiders.
that sounds worse.
Yeah.
That sounds worse.
They do
I
murder
think we
you pretty
need
quickly.
to bring in
Oh my
a
gosh.
member from the community that has something similar in terms of the question for the topic that we're talking about at the moment.
Oh, please
it's
do,
from-
Fulia.
And it's from Black Wyver. And they say, of the 4 games coming from Xbox to PlayStation, which one are you most hyped for? Which we've just pretty much talked about. But they also ask, and if Xbox was to release another game to PlayStation later this year, realistically, which one would you want it to be?
Good question. Good question.
So I'm going to go ahead and just chime in and say that realistically, if there's one. It would probably be another smaller game. And actually, like the one that comes to mind maybe is something like Sunset Overdrive is one that they bring over because Sony owns Omniac, and people they think maybe people will buy that.
Oh wow,
they like Sunset Overdrive. So even though Ron doesn't like Sunset Overdrive, I feel like that would be like the realistic choice. But what I would really want is just Master Chief Collection, because I would play that and get all those
Xbox fans might throw a fit over that. I don't know. Halo on PlayStation.
I don't care. This is I'm just answering the question, Ron.
They might burn the building down. Oh my God.
Ron, I am just answering the question as it is stated in front of us. Okay.
They don't really throw away their Xboxes if that ever happens.
You ain't lying. Well,
I mean, my
really
Xbox is right there. I'm
away.
not going to throw it away. I mean, just keep that.
There it is.
Yeah. But what about y'all? What about you, Matt? What do you think?
This is so weird. Like I've owned an Xbox for I think more than a year now. I don't think I've actually played an Xbox exclusive game all this time. It's just been a Persona machine last year. This year it's going to continue to be a Persona machine and Backtrackers game. So when I saw this question, I was like, I don't even know which Xbox exclusive game, because I was going to say, well, Persona, but that's already on PlayStation, and then all the other Backtrackers games, most of them are on PlayStation. So I don't know, but I do agree with Ryan. Like not just if, I expect that they will release more. It's a matter of when. And I imagine it'll be smaller titles. I don't think it'll be stuff like Starfield or Indiana Jones, or at least not right away. It depends on their business plans, but I'm expecting. I think it depends on how things go. I think it'll continue to be smaller titles, more truthfully, I think they should do more multiplayer games on more platforms. I think they'll just help out. So maybe not the entire Master Chief collection, but maybe just the online mode at least, or something on PlayStation, just to get more people in to the ecosystem would be a smart move. But yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't played an Xbox. I haven't played Halo yet.
No, that's actually a really interesting idea. Just bringing over just the multiplayer mode, or even like, what if they just brought over the multiplayer mode from Halo Infinite, just to bring more players into Halo Infinite and just charge them with microtransactions? Like,
it'd be a smart move, right? And it gets people into the ecosystem. They're more interested in checking out the rest of the Halo games. They realize it's on Game Pass. Like, it would be a very smart business move. Ryan's not gonna throw away his Xbox. I'm not throwing mine away. Ron, Fulia, are you gonna throw your Xbox away?
I got my old Xbox games on it, so that's not happening.
Yeah.
See?
And I mean, Seth chimes in with the perfect answer anyways. None of this matters because you can play Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore, anywhere. 100%. That's all you need. I mean, but you can also play Plumbers Don't Wear Ties Definitive Edition everywhere as well. Like, that's also a thing. So, God, I can't wait for that game too. It's gonna be great. Y'all, I'm gonna be insufferable next month. Between that and Unicorn Overlord, like, good luck to y'all.
You better stream that, because I want to know what that is.
Plumbers Don't Wear Ties? We might get banned for streaming that.
Okay, maybe not then.
Yeah. We can try. But there are
maybe in the Discord.
Yeah. Maybe that is probably more of a Discord thing, or like carpool gaming after dark kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Ron Fulia, y'all didn't answer.
Give me a Avowed or a Clockwork Revolution. Either one of those, I'll take them. Or both. Yeah.
You do know if the people brought Avowed over, people would start throwing their Xbox at it, right?
That's the one. That's the one.
You know what? The bad thing is Obsidian has all these fans, but it's like nobody ever buys their games for some odd reason. So
I do.
I do as well. So look, as many Obsidian people can purchase, bring it to everybody.
Nice. All right, Fulia, what about you? What Xbox exclusive do you want?
I'm kind of in the same boat as Matt. I haven't really played many of the Xbox exclusive. The only really Xbox exclusives I have played has been Forza Horizon, Viva Pinata, Fable, maybe.
Okay.
Fable.
Okay.
That'd be like, I think, because I played Fable 3 on the 360, and I kind of enjoyed that. So that might be something that realistically could come to PlayStation. Yes, Ron?
You played the worst Fable and enjoyed it. I need you to go back and at least play 2. If you enjoyed Fable 3,
I was recommended Fable 3 when I was first going into my first time playing Xbox games.
Oh,
It was my
Sounds like
first Xbox
Who
console.
recommended that to you? They shouldn't be your friend anymore. That's appalling.
I mean, to be fair, Fable 3 is not a bad game. It's just not as good as the other 2 Fable games. It's not bad though. It's not the worst.
It's cheeks.
Look, it's better than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, okay? Or Mutants in
boy.
Manhattan. Like that game is much worse. Much worse. But there you go. Those are our picks, Black Library. I hope you enjoyed them. But without further ado, speaking of listener questions, we should probably let some of our friends into the car with us because it is time for the carpool. And this one I just chuckle at just reading this question. Awesome Dave 1337 comes in and says, with it being 7 years since the release of Nier Automata, what is everyone's thoughts on the game? And how is it that everyone considers it a masterpiece? Matt, I'm just gonna
Get back here, Rob. Get back here, Rob.
Yeah,
can't
Matt,
leave.
just tell us about Nier Automata, please.
I'm not going to go too much into detail. If you really, really want to know why Nier Automata is a masterpiece, there was a RPG Cave episode that Ryan and I did together way back when. So you can check that one out. We did a deep dive into why it's a masterpiece. But to give a very condensed short version, the soundtrack is a banger. The story is a banger. The gameplay is good. Graphics are decent. It's a very unique experience. So give it a chance. I know it sounds like it's a lot when you say 5 playthroughs, but it's more like 5 chapters, and it's really like 30, 40 hours at most. Unless you're going for the platinum. Only, yes.
Yeah.
Come on. How long was Fable 3? That's got to be like what?
I never finished
80
it.
hours? Oh,
That's a good
never
thing.
mind.
At least you didn't waste your time.
Nah, I think you could probably
wow.
I think you could beat Fable 3 in about 30 hours.
Oh, okay, it's short.
You can spend it on better games, Koala. Don't do it. Just go put it out there.
But Ron, tell everybody why Nier Automata is a masterpiece.
It is not a masterpiece. It's anything but that. I'll give it to it for the soundtrack. The soundtrack's great. It's fantastic. That is the great highlight of that. I enjoyed the combat. The combat was good. If they had stopped after the very first ending, I would have sit there and said it was a really good game. But instead, it started going to anime territory, and not good anime. Not good anime. And it just totally just went downhill from there for me. So it's not a masterpiece at all.
You're trying to tell me that it wasn't full anime from the very beginning of the game. It's pretty full.
It was, but it was good anime.
You're right.
It was good anime in the beginning. That's a difference.
Okay.
Yeah. Then he taroed it.
I don't believe you.
The first playthrough is pretty anime-ish. You actually not. Yeah, that's true.
It is.
It is pretty anime.
But it's good anime though. I mean, and some of the storylines were good. The boss battles were great. I will not take that away from it. I really enjoyed those. But it's just the story in between after that is just nah.
Awesome Dave disagrees with you. That's why.
I know Dave will.
Anniversary.
But he loves Final Fantasy VIII. Come on.
Oh, Ron, stop it! Come on now.
Dave is my guy. He knows how I feel about this.
Look, he's just trying to draw you into this conversation and all. See the draw system drawing you in. Great.
And it worked.
Oh God!
See, it worked. He managed to ask a question about Nier Automata, and he's like, somehow this is going to lead all the way back to us talking about Final Fantasy VIII,
and how bad it is, and how bad it is.
Look at that! Look at that! Fulia, why don't you tell us why Nier Automata is so masterpiece?
Please.
Call it cheap, Koala. Call it cheap.
But also, how do you feel about Nier Automata? You can also just say next question if you want.
I have never played Nier Automata, is how I would pronounce it. Yeah,
fancy.
I've never played it. So next question.
Excellent. I think Nier Automata is a fine game. I really enjoyed it when I first played it in 2017. I wasn't like one of these people that thought it was a masterpiece, but it was a game I really, really enjoyed when it came out. Haven't gone back to it since then. And also the best part about it is, guys, get ready for this. It's the story of Nier Automata is canon in the world of Final Fantasy 14. And that just makes it infinitely better. That just, gives me more of appreciation for it.
What? Why?
You tell him, Ryan. You tell
So,
him, Ryan.
so Ron, let me fill you in. So, in the expansion Shadowbringers for Final Fantasy 14, they always do that like this, Alliance raid series where they do crossovers with other Square games, but they don't always make them canon. But they found a way, working with Yoko Taro, to weave the story of Nier Automata through the Alliance raid into the story of Final Fantasy 14, and it's actually they're both canon in the same universe as each other, because of course they are. So,
Yoshi P,
Right,
why
Ron?
would you do this?
Right?
Why would you do this?
Mhm.
Oh my goodness! Is there a fallen Ash baby like in Dragon Guard?
how did you know?
Oh, I knew it.
How did you know?
Because it's Yoko. That's why. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
The
See?
tears.
There you
The
go.
tears.
More reasons to enjoy Nier Automata.
It's great.
Anyways, moving on. We got Kiku. I'm starting to feel like if Fulia had control of the controls here, she'd be putting up like a little like thing on the screen that's like anyways count and like counting the number of anyways at this point. Kiku says, we all know you guys love playing games, but do you enjoy collecting games as well? What part of your collection is your favorite part? Now, I'm going to just preface this real quick before I let the three of y'all get in here and just say, I'm going to put a pin in this for me, Ryan Turford, because as you can tell, there's currently nothing on my shelves because on the other side of the room, most of my collectibles are still in boxes. So by the time next week's show rolls around, everything should be unpacked. So I will show off my cool collection stuff. That's part of my collection. That is my favorite next week. And of course, I enjoy collecting stuff. That's just part of the question as well. So let's go around the horn and go back to Fulia, who couldn't answer anything about Nier Automata. So I want to know from you, do you like collecting stuff? And, if so, what's one of the coolest things in your collection?
So I don't really collect too much in terms of like gaming related stuff. Like the only things that I've really ever gotten with games has been like more specifically Nintendo Steelbooks. I don't know if you can see them in here. And then there's like one behind the Yoshi there. They hand out the Steelbooks with the game, but the thing I find annoying about Steelbooks is that they don't have the game in it as the actual case. They're just like, here's the game in the original case, but also here's a Steelbook as well. So you got two. I feel like it's just a bit of a waste of plastic if you're just going to give away the extra case with the original case with the Steelbook. And I'm like, there's no point, because there's an actual spot for the cartridge inside the actual Steelbook. Even Steelbooks that come with like PlayStation or Xbox games, there is a spot where you can put your disc in it. Just put it in there.
Yep. Well, especially all the PlayStation collector's editions that come with digital copies, but they come with the steelbooks. Like I have the God of War and the Horizon steelbooks, like Forbidden West, but like there's no games in there. Like, they're
exactly.
redeeming them digitally.
I don't understand that. Like, I would love to be able to purchase, like those collector's editions for those games that have come out that come with like statues and, replicas and all that sort of stuff. But they're just too expensive for me, unfortunately. Like over here, the minimum for a collector's edition on any of the games that I've come across has been like 250 or 300 Australian dollars.
Yep.
And it's a lot just to put that much money down just for, something that is like a statue with a digital code of the game. Like,
yeah.
No,
especially like Australia in particular. You bring up a good point, Fulia, because like I know for a fact collector's editions there are like double, if not triple the price of what they are here. So I can imagine that's so much harder to get into. Like, you're better off if you want like a collectible for a game that you really like, going on a site like Ami, which is a Japanese website, because they have like figures for almost everything out there. Like, and they're really nice statues there, and they're like reasonably priced even if you live in Australia. So like that's like probably more what you'd be looking at versus collector's edition stuff.
Pretty much. And that's kind of the reason why I don't go out of my way to buy any of those collector's editions. But also, aside from the fact that it's really expensive, there are also games that I've never really played myself to then go out of my way to fork out that kind of money to buy it. So I don't have that kind of attachment to it. So in that instance, those type of collector's editions don't really work for me. The one thing I will mention is there was even if I don't go for the collector's edition, sometimes games come out with like deluxe editions or limited editions, and they come with small things as well. Like for instance, this particular Hogwarts Legacy, this is the deluxe edition. And Hogwarts Legacy here in Australia, I don't know if it was the same anywhere else. This deluxe edition was exclusive to our store, so JB Hi-Fi. And they actually included not just some DLC content that comes with the game, but also some physical pins from like the actual houses of from the game. So as you can see, there's 2 of the 4 in here, because I gave the other 2 away to some friends. I'm a Hufflepuff, so I keep the Hufflepuff one. I don't know who Slytherin is. I've got to find a Slytherin to give that away to. But yeah, you get like a nice little box of pins that come with the game, and that's actually, it's really cool. I like the ones that come with like pins like this, where you can wear them or you can hang them up somewhere or something. It's actually really cool. So that, I'm gonna say, is my favorite collectible item. I do also have, if you can see behind me, I'm sorry for the listeners, you can't see this, but check out the VOD so you can see this. I do have quite a bit of a collection behind me, with most of it being very Nintendo heavy. I am trying to get a little bit more PlayStation as much as I can.
Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of the extent of my collection, really.
Nice. The PlayStation stuff right above the anime pops, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. What about you, Ron? What collecting do you? Obviously, we already know the answer to this.
Yeah, well, I used to have a lot of physical stuff, steelbooks and limited editions, but when I went full digital with PS5, I pretty much either gave my old physical copies to friends, or Kiku, who asked the question, she actually sat there and got quite a bit of my physical collection, steelbooks, limited edition stuff, and actually sold them for me. So I'm pretty much down to only the games that are not available digitally. I have the physical versions of. Everything else is pretty much gone.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. What about you? Obviously, we see some stuff behind you, but is that all? Like, how big is your collectible collection stuff?
Ron, why don't you tell everybody why my spirit animal is a squirrel? Tell everybody.
So Matt collects steelbooks like acorns. He has a whole bunch of them. Every Saturday he pops them up on his Twitter feed, and they're great to look at. I love it, but that is why he is the squirrel.
Yeah.
He likes shiny.
I do have quite the extensive collection of physical goodies, not just the shelf behind me, but yeah, the room has quite a bit of stuff. So I do like collecting. So when I did read this question, I enjoyed it, but it actually got me a little stressed because I was like, if I can only pick, I wanted to think about what's the one that's in my favorite out of everything here. You don't want to know how many hours I had to think about this in this scenario. So this might be morbid, but the scenario I put myself in was, okay, if the house was on fire, after I rescue my family,
Wow.
and it's safe to go back in, what's one, just one? And I was like, okay, I really have to think carefully about one, because I mean, if it wasn't a big fire, then I'd try to get all of it. But if it was a pretty aggressive fire, I only could pick one. What's the only one I could pick? And so the favorite one that I got, surprisingly, isn't a steelbook. It's the Resident Evil 2 Deluxe Edition.
I thought it was going to be near.
And no, yeah, see, yeah, there's a lot of sentiment. There's a lot of items here that have sentimental value, and I had to really think carefully. So I did pick this one. Resident Evil 2 OG and the remake is one of my favorite games of all time. But there's just a lot of memories attached to the game, the OG, the remake. And in particular, that copy that I have, it is signed by the voice actor for Claire Redfield. And I was very strategic about which one she signed, because I do have another. Yeah, I really do collect a lot of physicals because I also have another copy of this game because on the inside, the reversible cover is Leon. So I have a second copy so that hopefully I do get to meet the voice actor for Leon and he can sign his side of it. And then I'll have two of them displayed side by side because
Strategic, playing ahead.
I'm hoarding too much stuff. I know. That's why I don't want to lose this one because I already have her signing it. And funny, it was really funny that this question came up because for some reason at work we were talking about hoarding things, and somebody said like just get rid of all your stuff, just take pictures of it. And I put my foot down so hard. I was like, no, looking at pictures is not the same. I need to hold it, look at it. Sometimes I need to smell it. Whatever. Like, it's not the same as a picture. It's really not the same, man.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a few looks. So,
but you know what? I totally understand that. Like, that's not that's not like you just making that stuff up. Like, that's a definite thing. Like, in fact, like that's one of the things I learned or was reminded of during this move was like, man, I got a lot of stuff. I almost have too much stuff because I hoard a little too much stuff. Where like I mentioned before, like I was still trying to get rid of stuff, and I got rid of a lot of things, but there was still like 30 boxes worth of just collectible stuff to move, and it was pretty. They're not small boxes; they're big, heavy boxes. So it's kind of ridiculous. Where I'm like, you know, maybe before I move again in the next year, maybe I need to trim down a little bit. Maybe I adopt the Ron philosophy a little bit, especially because like for me, you know, I'm like Matt in a lot of ways where like I could hoard a lot of stuff and you know, just for the sake of having it. And you know, if I can let that get out of control for at times if I'm not paying attention to it. But I do feel like now the new mentality for me is if I have to have a definitive reason why I need to own it physically. So a lot of things that I actually collect now are movies because for someone like me who works in, you know, broadcasting, you know, I can tell the difference pretty easily between like a Netflix live stream of a movie, versus watching like a 4K Blu-ray of a movie. Like there's a very, very distinguishable difference between the two of those to me, to the point where it bothers me. So a lot of my favorite movies are movies I like to watch. I collect on, you know, home video now. And that's something that's more recent where I'm picking up less physical games, you know, collecting less old games and collecting more movies because there is an actual reason for that. Whereas with games in a lot of ways, you know, especially with, you know, NES games or, you know, Super Nintendo games, you've got EverDrives and other ways of playing those games on the main the original platforms in the way they were meant to be played, but just not having to own all the cartridges. So, you know, that's really dissuaded me from collecting a lot of those. Whereas, you know, PS1 or PS2 games, as an example, like those are much harder to have that same problem with. Like if they're not re-released somewhere else, like Silent Hill 3, like the original version of Silent Hill 3, well, the only way to really play that in its true form is to just bust out the PS2 with a physical copy of Silent Hill 3. So I think that's more where my game collecting is. But again, I'll talk about that more next week because I'm going to put a little pin in this here on the document, saying that I will talk about this more next week because there are some things that I want to show off next week. But we'll go from there. Anyways, moving on, we got HVAC Sparky, who has a question here, and it's a bit of a reader. So bear with me, everyone, while I take y'all on a tail here. So HVAC Sparky says, PlayStation and Xbox have been in a war for a while for which can produce the most powerful console. But Xbox, it seems, have been diverging from this, pushing the most powerful system as a priority, and instead been pushing the Series S and Game Pass. This kind of leaves PlayStation alone as the one pushing its premium-powered console. The trouble is, to make games that maximize the power of the modern console is becoming a much longer and a much, much more pricey venture. Therefore, finally getting to the question, do you think that now or very soon we will reach a quote-unquote power gap or power saturation with PlayStation? They are at a point where they can continue to make their console more powerful, but that would in turn require them to make games more and more robust, which might not be financially sound or even possible. That would at minimum have to push the price of their first party releases up past the $70 mark. Plus, it would continue to push the price of their premium console higher and higher, which would potentially shrink the audience reach also. What do you figure? So what do we think about this question? Because I feel like we're already kind of at that power cap or power saturation a little bit. We're like, graphics are, almost at the point where we're getting to like true to life kind of visuals in a lot of ways. Obviously, it doesn't look like reality. Like no one would usually question a game that you're playing as reality at this point. We're not quite there yet, but I feel like we're quickly approaching that. But I feel like the main thing is performance in games. Like most games currently can't even run at 1440p at 60 frames per second. And that's more of where this more powerful console stuff needs to come in a little bit. Like we've got the PlayStation 5 Pro rumored to come out sometime at some point. And I imagine that's going to be the big push for that is better performance rather than trying to achieve like the most powerful status. But to me, I think that that's probably where Sony probably looks to innovate is like the performance in their games rather than trying to push for like the biggest concepts or the biggest graphical realities. But I want to hear from y'all. What do you think about this question? We'll start with Ron on this one.
I'm with you. I think it's going to be more of a performance thing over graphics. I mean, when you look at the games that are strictly PS5 games, you could even look at the Horizon. I mean, that game looks fantastic. And I say only one more console cycle might get us to where, like you said, it's not going to be lifelike, but it's going to be about as close as it can be. So I think performance is probably going to they have to start focusing on that. Because like you said, there's a lot of games out there that don't run at 60. And some games, they talk about trying to get them at 120. That's not going to work on the current status. Like you said, PS5 Pro, that might handle that. But yeah, I think performance is where it's going to go. But I don't think Xbox is really out of the hardware race like that either. If they're going to continue this route of making games for everybody, they're going to have to keep up.
They literally just said during their like Xbox podcast thing, oh, by the way, just so y'all know, the next Xbox will be the biggest leap hardware wise across any Xbox generation.
Yeah, they're not done yet. So, and like I said, if they're going to be doing the whole multi-platform, releasing some games thing, they can't fall too far behind like that. They're going to have to keep up because they're going to want to put games on other systems, but they're still going to want to put Microsoft systems out there also. You can't have it too far behind with the PlayStation 6 or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah, especially because like otherwise, like third-party developers aren't going to develop games for your console. Like that's just how that works. Especially because like when you look at Microsoft as a company, like they still produce, like even though like Microsoft Surfaces are not the top quality laptops out there, they still make those because they want you in that Microsoft ecosystem. Then they want hardware that supports their operating system in the same way that Xbox does. So like I imagine you're bang on with that, Ron. Like I think there's no reason for them to leave hardware at this point. But what do you think, Fulia, as someone who's not really like a super graphics person anyways, like what do you think about this question?
This is not a question I would really think about.
Excellent.
So I'm not quite sure what to think, to be honest.
Okay. You can just do the next question. That works too.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, what do you think?
I'm the opposite of Ryan, where I actually can't see the difference even between 720 and 1080. So I'm probably the wrong person to answer this question. If I look really carefully, then I might see the difference. But like if I played something at 720 or watch something at 1080 and just I'm not looking for is there a difference, I actually can't tell the difference. Like the TV I play on is 1080 for PS5, and I've been playing like that for years. I'm probably still gonna play on that TV till it basically explodes or breaks apart. But if I had it for years, I don't see that happening anytime soon. So I'm the wrong person because for me, PS3 to PS4 games, I can see the difference, but it wasn't like, whoa, this is next gen graphics or performance. It was just like, oh, this looks prettier. And then truthfully, even from PS4 to PS5, if I'm looking for it, otherwise it's like, okay, it's kind of similar. But I agree with Ron and Ryan. Like, I think the next thing that they have to push for is actual 60 frame at higher resolutions because they still can't even do that now. I personally would hope that they're doing more innovative stuff from stronger hardware in game development. So AI, like branching paths, like galore in more games that you couldn't possibly have done in a PS3 game, and just how AI interacts, like the enemies would respond to you very different. Like when you think about how enemies were in MGS1, like you can figure out their pattern pretty quickly and you can do it blindfolded at some point. Whereas, what I would like to see is nope, you every time you play MGS 5 or 6 or whatever comes out, it's gonna be a different time. It's gonna be a different outcome for how enemies react to you. Like I want to see hardware push those gaming innovations or whatever developers are interested in. Because in terms of graphics, like I stopped caring after the PS3.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point because we're like the games we're playing now are basically just PS3 games in a lot of ways where, the innovation isn't really there, in over a lot of those. Like you see sometimes where you'll see some great, gameplay innovations, but a lot of times you're playing very similar style games to older games. So I like that perspective. Again, and also I want to, give you a little bit of a boost here because I actually think you're not actually in the minority. I actually think there's probably a lot of people out there that still only have 1080p TVs that are playing their PlayStation 5 on them.
Yeah.
Like
Dozens
Julia
of
is there
us.
too. Like,
Dozens.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's more people than people think. In fact, I think Microsoft saw those numbers and that's why they developed the Series S because they knew that, there would be so many people that might not be switching over to 4K anytime soon and might just be sticking with 1080 or playing on a computer monitor and playing on a 1080p monitor or something like that. Like, I feel like there's enough data there that probably suggests that, most people just not everyone switched over to 4K and that's totally viable for people like that. Cause you're right. Like it would be weird. It would be actually interesting to see what you thought of if you played the Final Fantasy demo, the Rebirth demo before they patch it in the performance mode. Because in the performance mode, it played, not only did it play at 1080p, which would be your native resolution, but it looks like Vaseline is smudged all over the screen because it's all out of focus and fuzzy. And it does not look good. But maybe that's just how it looks on a 4K TV. Like I wonder if on just a normal 1080p TV, maybe that actually looks okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
cheers. Yeah. Very excited to see.
Whereas they've actually patched that now, so it actually looks not as fuzzy, but still looks fuzzy with the newest version of the demo. But I'm curious to know how that works. Because I played the Rebirth demo on fidelity mode because I'm I can barely make out where some of the places I'm supposed to climb up are because they all are kind of blending together because of how out of focus it was. But
is this like the Final Fantasy VII remake door fiasco? Is it like the doors again?
No, well, it's the doors, but it's the entire environment.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So you're just huh. So you're in the Nibelheim area and all you're climbing through the mountains and the mountains are all this gray color and you're like, where do I climb up? Because I can't physically see it because it's out of focus. So yeah, it's this whole thing.
They gotta patch that soon.
Well, they did luckily. But anyways, moving on. We got Antics who asked the question, as we're all apparently nearing the halfway point of the PS5's life already, I'm finding myself playing just as many PlayStation 4 titles as I am current gen games lately. So I'm curious, what have been your top 3 most played games on the system since it released? Could be PS5 exclusive, could be an older title. What do you think it says about your gaming preferences when it comes to the current generation? Now, here's the tricky thing, Antics. Because the PlayStation 5 doesn't really give you the information as to how many hours you played the game on your PlayStation 5 specifically. It just gives you you have the list of your most played games, but there's no way to go in and be well, even though some PlayStation 4 games might have high play times, did I really play them on my PlayStation 5 or not? There's no way of really finding this out. So we went in and checked our PlayStation 5s or True Trophies as well to grab our 3 most played games on our PlayStation 5s. And I'll let Fulia go first because she is in fact the Platinum Queen.
Oh. Okay, so my third most played game is actually an um an online platformer game by the name
Oh.
of Fall Guys.
Nice.
Oh,
I didn't see that coming.
nice. I did not see
Yeah.
that coming at all.
So when Fall Guys announced that it was getting like the whole new sort of season and all that sort of stuff on consoles, because I had already started playing this on PC originally, but then they decided to create a whole new other version of the game with the new seasons in it, and ended up playing quite a bit of Fall Guys in my time, and I clocked about 33 and a half hours of Fall Guys on the PlayStation.
Nice. Nice.
My second most played game, which is going to be a surprise, is Final Fantasy 16. And that one I clocked up about 52 hours and 38 minutes.
I knew that would be up.
Yes.
I had a feeling
Not a
it would be up.
surprise.
Yeah.
We're proud of you. Not a surprise.
30 hours of that was evading.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, you are the RPG queen, so of course you got Final Fantasy 16 on there.
This is 5.
And my actual number one most played, which isn't far off from Final Fantasy 16, is actually Spiritfarer at 58 hours and
nice.
35 minutes.
Dang.
And
Wow.
that
I didn't
is
see it coming at all.
That is technically
Nice.
a game that doesn't actually take long to play through the story. But with me, I felt like I needed to, like I was having a hard time finding certain things, like the fish, like the fishing aspect of it was the thing.
Yeah.
Like the only way that you can platinum the trophy, not the only way you can get a platinum for this game is not from collecting all of the trophies. So it's not 100%ing it. It's a fishing thing, a fishing collectible where you have to collect all of the variations of fish in the game.
Oh.
And one of them, I just need one dang fish to get that platinum. And I can't, because there is a glitch in my game that I cannot get
No.
this stupid platinum because of this dang fish. So
You got to pray hard.
and that is why I have so many hours in this game, is because of the fishing side of it.
Oh man, that's
That-
that hurts.
That is the literal worst. That sounds so annoying. It's, in fact, that trophy reminds me of the Final Fantasy the Final Fantasy 1 platinum for the Pixel Remaster collection, where it forces you to fight every single monster in the entire game at least once. But there's one monster that only appears on the bridge going to the final battle, and that's it. And you basically have to go back and forth on this bridge over and over again. Oh, did I mention the fact that it's a 0.0001% encounter rate for this particular enemy? So you just sit there for it took me about 7.5 hours of just going back and forth on this bridge, fighting different enemies just to get it to appear and pop the last trophy.
It only took like 20 minutes for me.
But it's random. It's totally random.
God,
It's
that's
Final Fantasy
crazy.
1.
I feel like that's what's happening with this Spiritfarer game, because I can't finish the game. I mean, I can finish the game if I really want to. So I'm already at the point where I can get Stella through the gate.
You haven't finished the game?
No, because
Oh
I
my
want
God.
to. I want to.
Platinum.
I want that dang platinum.
But the story is so good. I can't believe you didn't see the ending yet.
But the thing is, I also haven't encountered all of the different spirits. That's the other thing too. And I really want to encounter all of them and help them find their way. And this is why
You have to nicely tweet the dev and be like, hey, can you help me with this and patch this, please?
Yeah.
Very nicely.
And-
Very nicely.
And just pray to the RNG gods. Like, you got to pray harder, like Ron did, to get 20 minutes.
Yeah,
to get
yeah. I mean,
trophy.
I lucked out with that. I know some people sit and spent hours. 7 hours is wild. I think I would have gave up. There's no way I would have did that.
I was,
I'm
listening to podcasts
very
and stuff.
stubborn.
So, yeah.
Well, the other thing I will mention, if we're going back to like the collectibles question, there is a Spiritfarer collectible edition, like collector's edition, that I would love to have, because it actually comes with the orb that is in the game.
Nice. Mhm.
And it's like a really nice. I think it lights up as well. And it comes with like other things, including I think it was like the digital soundtrack and like art books and all that. So I really want that, but it's just I can't get it in Australia. I can only get it online through the website of the developers, and I'm just like, oh, I really want that collector's edition.
So what you're saying is, if you might be coming to the United States at some point, maybe and it's somewhere near Lee Navarro's house, like, you know, maybe we saw a certain thing at Lee Navarro's house for you maybe to bring with you.
Maybe.
Maybe. I feel like we'll talk about this after the show.
Okay.
But anyways, Ron, what about you? Let's hear from you. What are your totals?
Starting off appropriately with a Falcom game, the way it should be. Trails into Reverie, 240 hours and 41 minutes.
That's too many.
Holy cow.
It's not.
Wow.
It's not. It's appropriate. It's appropriate. That was a long game.
Wow.
I wanted the complete true ending, so I had to go through the whole dungeon. It was worth every minute of it. Every minute of it. After that one is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I felt every hour of this one, though. 234 hours.
Yeah.
234 hours. And man, I had to get the platinum, but that was one of those things that once I was done with that, I never wanted to look at that game, think about it again. It was personally my worst Assassin's Creed game out of the whole series. I didn't hate it, but it was just okay to me. And they bloated that thing to a ridiculous degree. The fishing thing that Koala had brought up about, that was one of the things I think I spent the most time doing, is the fishing trophy. I hated it, but I had to get the platinum, and that was on me. The last one is going to be Horizon Forbidden West. I spent 199 hours on that one.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. That's a good list of games there. I mean,
It
is.
Even
It
with
is.
the Falcom.
How dare you? How dare you?
Oh, look at Seth right here. Wow. So Ghost of Tsushima didn't even attack the top 3.
Actually, Ghost was going to be next. If we had did top 5, Ghost was going to be next.
Also,
And
Ghost
then-
is more
and
than
then Elden Ring.
4 game. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
also
But I didn't
just
play it
saying,
until PlayStation 5, though.
none of my games even cracked triple digits. So
Yeah. That's okay.
It's
None
all
of
right.
mine did either.
You're just getting
Okay.
started, though. You're just getting started.
You're just getting started.
You've been spending a lot of time on the hot potato.
honestly, if I keep playing Spiritfarer and it's still taking me this long to get that platinum, I probably will hit through triple digits.
See?
No, just roll the credits at that point. Stop. You got to see the end.
No,
It's such
no.
a good story.
She's right there. She's right there. She
Trophy
needs to
over
get it.
story? Oh, trophies are great, but come on, story first.
She's right
you know?
there, man. She's right there.
I don't know. Trophies actually matter quite a lot. I get it.
It depends.
Well, if
It
you
depends.
want me to have the title of Platinum Queen, it is the only way.
She
All
brings
right,
up
I'll
a
pray.
good point.
Yep.
I'll
She's
pray
doing
to
the
the
right thing.
RPG gods. I'll
Yeah.
pray to them, just for you.
Yeah.
Please let
All right,
Trillia
Matt.
have this trophy.
Give me your list. Man.
I was surprised with it took a bit of work to kind of look at the games and figure out, well, I played some of these on PS4 and then I did a platinum run on PS5, so I had to kind of separate it. So my third game, I think, was around 68 hours, was Resident Evil Village. It did get up that high for the platinum because you have to do I think it's like you have to get like S tiers on the mercenaries runs. So it took a bit of practice, but it was fun. And then I think the second game most played on my PS5 was Resident Evil 4 Remake. That was around 78 hours. That was my bad because I got very arrogant for the platinum run. I told Ron about this because the platinum should only be like 50 hours. I got very arrogant and said, no, I don't need 6 playthroughs. I can do it in 4. I will beat it on the hardest difficulty without grinding to get the best weapons. I got this. The game said, no, you don't.
Yep.
And I think I got like 60% through the hardest difficulty. And said, you know what? This just hurts. Let me go back and do some more grinding on another playthrough, get better weapons, come back to the hardest playthrough and do it again. So my bad. And then my top PS5 game was Nier Replicant, which I think I almost got triple
No
digits.
shocker.
I was surprised it was Nier Replicant, but again, the platinum run, I did it differently from the guides because the guides said you can do it faster in like 60 hours, but then you kind of have to see which steps to do, which would kind of do minor spoilers for the story. So I said, you know what, I just want to do one playthrough blind and just experience the story, and then do another extra run, which was fine. And then there is one trophy in Near Replicant that is like, you don't just have to pray to the RNG gods, like you need to have to sacrifice to get this trophy. It's about growing a very difficult flower, which sounds really stupid, and it was a very stupid process, because like you have to grow one flower and then a second flower and then combine them together, and then after that one grow another flower and another flower and combine them together. So I did have to spend a lot of time just for that stupid flower, but I did it, and I did get that platinum. So that was my most played game on my PS5. And to answer the question, it's not even a PS5 game; it's a PS4 game.
Yep. So you just happen to play on your PS5, which makes sense.
You got it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So as for me, these numbers are going to sound kind of low, but hear me out. A lot of my like 100-hour plus games I played on PlayStation 4, like Persona 5 Royal, Diablo 3, because I have the platinum in Diablo 3 and that was ridiculous to get, or Overwatch. Like I spent so much time playing Overwatch. It's ridiculous. So a lot of my high totals are totals on PlayStation 4. And this generation, because I was on Xbox Drive, I wanted to make a more concerted effort to play more games on Xbox over the last couple of years. So a lot of my bigger games, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla that Ron mentioned, I played that on Xbox as an example. So like over 150 hours I spent in that game all on Xbox. So with all that out of the way, here are my three. Starting at number 3 at the bottom, Tales of Arise at 44 hours. So not too much. I basically just beat the game, played through it, played a little bit of the post-game stuff, put it down. I never really went back for the expansion either. So there's that. But good game. Next one up, same position as in Fulia's list, Final Fantasy 16 with 48 hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I was 4 hours over you.
Well, did you get the platinum?
No.
Neither did I. So yeah, I played the game once and that was enough for me. Maybe I'll go if I ever have an inkling to go back to the game, I'll probably do the Final Fantasy mode to get the platinum. But
I'm just currently going through and playing through side quests.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. And then this one should shock everyone. I've never talked about this game before on the show at all or anything like that. My number one game is the PlayStation 5 version of Final Fantasy 14 with 1,881 hours. That's just for the PlayStation 5 version. The PlayStation 4 version, I also have 1,700 hours in that as well, which I also played a little on my PlayStation 5, but not enough to surpass Tales of Arise or Final Fantasy 16.
Man, that is pretty much more than what I've played Animal Crossing in.
Yeah.
Puts our numbers to shame.
Well, actually, TPR asked the question, 1,100 hours just on PlayStation 5? No, 1,881 hours just on PlayStation 5 with just the PlayStation 5 version of the game. So there you go. I mean, it's almost... I almost don't need any other games, you guys. Like that's
no
the game for me. Yeah. Because when you combine the two of them, it's 1,881 plus 1,700. It's a lot of hours. It's like 3,500 hours. It's ridiculous. So there you go. Those are our totals. Please be excited. And last question or questions of the week come us once again from Black Wyver, who had 2 additional questions. They said, hope you all are having a great weekend. Here are my questions for the show. Number 1, with Shadow of the Erd Tree around the corner, would you all consider playing Elden Ring in multiplayer mode? Ron should be a great guide for y'all. I mean, yeah, I like Elden Ring as we talked about before, but I never finished it. I played it for 30 hours. It wasn't gelling with me, but I did really enjoy like the 30 hours that I played. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm content with that. And I just put it down.
Oh, my heart.
Is there a multiplayer mode in this game? Is that an actual thing?
Yeah,
there's always been multiplayer
3
in
players.
this game. Yeah.
You sure?
I mean, if Ron likes to carry me, then I'll play with them. Sure.
I got you. 191 hours I spent in that. My character can handle it. I platinumed it. It ain't nothing.
All
I
right.
got you and Koala. Come along.
You carry me. I'll play anything. I'm in.
I got you. I got you.
Let's go.
My confidence is at an all-time high in Elden Ring, so I'm good with that. Koala?
Julia, you're come on. Ron said he'll carry us. Come on. We just have
Come
to
on.
sit back, do some
Yeah.
healing.
Yeah.
I don't know, some dodging, evading. We just have to evade.
Just
Yeah.
play dodge.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's have to dodge. Wow.
Oh, Koala,
We
this
tried.
hurts.
We tried.
We'll keep working
tried.
on her. We'll keep
Yeah.
working on her.
I don't know. I feel like the Soulsborne game we get Koala into is probably something like Rise of the Ronin or like
Oh,
Neo or something
yes.
like that. Like something like faster paced, like something more similar to Final Fantasy 16. I think like that. I
Rise
think
of the
that's
Ronin
okay.
probably will be more her level, and then
That's
she can
it.
also use the difficulty modes if it's too bad for her. 'Cause
Exactly.
that was going to have difficulty options.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the one
Yep.
that's like the type of game that I feel like she might actually enjoy.
Come on, Koala.
Rise of the Ronin wasn't even on my list.
It's
Well,
time
it
for
is
you
now.
to put it on there. It's time for you
It
to
is
put it
now.
on there.
I mean,
Have
it's
you not
com-
seen the Dev Diaries? They look great. Come on.
Yeah, it's coming out like the week of my birthday. It's gonna be exciting.
There you go. See?
Now you have to. You
Yep.
have to.
Just saying. You
It's
don't
a
want to let
birthday
Ryan
present to
down.
me, Fulia.
You're gonna guilt trip me into playing it now?
Yes.
No,
Yes. Do it for Ryan.
It's Ryan. You don't give Ryan the game. You get the game for
No,
yourself.
please. I'd rather let's be real. I'd rather just see her play Unicorn Overlord instead. Let's be real.
There it is.
I can't
That's fine.
disagree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm okay with
That's
it.
fine.
Or maybe 13 Sentinels. Ron, I think that's a game she'd really like.
We can play
You
together.
know what?
I haven't played that one yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's on PS Extra.
Put that on
right?
your list.
Yeah.
Put that on your list, Koala.
We'll do it
That was
together.
gonna be worth your time, I think.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Do it.
She said sure.
I don't know.
We did it.
She
Yeah.
did say
We
sure.
did it. She said sure.
Yeah, we did it.
I've
Note
never
it
seen
down,
gameplay
chat.
of it. I
She
don't
said
know.
yes.
Ladies
She
and
said yes.
gentlemen,
She said
we
sure.
got her.
Yep. There
Yes,
we go.
did.
There we
Yeah.
go.
We did it.
You'll love it. It's like a
Noted.
visual novel with strategy stuff thrown in on the side. You
Yeah.
got this.
It's got this really cool like time travel story with mechs. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Done.
It's good.
Well, apparently I am the time traveling koala. So
There you go.
You got so many good titles. Oh my god.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
It's an outstanding game.
Yeah, pretty certain it'll be Bringer of Pepsi Man. But anyways, last question. What are your thoughts on the new physical re-releases where the expansion is still a code to redeem and not part of the discs? Example, Elden Ring, Cyberpunk 2077, etc. Not like Resident Evil 4 Gold Edition, which apparently has everything on the disc. To me, it doesn't bother me at all, but I also don't really collecting new modern games physically, so I'm definitely the wrong person to add. And then Ron, I'm imagining you're the same.
Yeah,
way.
it's the same way for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas since y'all actually collect physical things, does this bother you at all?
100%. It hurts quite deeply. I need it on that disc, even if it's not the entire installation. No, that hurts. I don't like that. It's such a paranoid thing. I know I'm delusional. I think about this, but I'm like, what happens if the code stops working or they remove it digitally and they revoke it? They reach into my PS5 and they take away the game. But if it's on my disc, you can't take it away. It's mine. I know.
You know those digital codes expire
squirrel.
eventually, right? Like
They
that's
do.
how that works.
They do. You got to use them. You got to use them at a certain time.
See? I feel better. That's why I want on the disc, so I can play when
But
I'm
it's usually
60
like
and
2 or
retired.
3 years though. So you got
Yeah.
time.
I got a backlog. I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. I don't know.
Matt, you have like 6 games. That's not a backlog.
Good games.
Well,
Okay.
actually, Ron, 6 games actually technically is still backlog.
Thank you,
There's
Ryan.
6 games he can handle like in a month.
It's
Stop this.
It's not a very long backlog, but it's still a backlog. But Fulia, what do you think? Does this bother you at all?
honestly, I've never actually come across games with their. I don't think I've actually played any games that came with a extra DLC code that I had to redeem, apart from like skins or something like that. So that side I'm okay with. But when it comes to like extra, like new content that needs to be downloaded so that you can play through the game, yeah, I don't think I've actually come across any games. So that kind of doesn't really bother me, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the wrong person to ask.
No, that's all good. But you know what? That's why I like the fact that we've got a little bit of a mixture here of like people who collect physical things, and then also Ron and I who just don't care a lot of times. So
You three have the sensible answer. I'm the one that's out of like, losing it. So
But
Well,
your
it would
answers are great
right
though.
answer.
there are no
It
wrong
would-
answers.
Yeah. I mean,
Thank
it would be annoying to have to then go into the PlayStation store and be like, okay, I have to redeem this now and then get it downloaded and blah blah blah. But yeah.
So much work. See,
Yeah.
better.
The
so much
like
work
the only
instead
wrong
of-
answer, Matt, would have just been if you would have came to us and said that you like pirates, because I just can't have that. I just can't have that.
But I like pirates.
Indifferent.
I like pirates.
I like pirates.
I'm indifferent. Oh wow.
I have a feeling
got
that
it
the rest of my
already.
podcast crew is about to make me walk the planks. So we should probably wrap up the show. But before we go, of course, we got to thank all of our patrons for being super amazing. And we're going to start with our ultimate producers, Tony Best Baker from the Quest 4 Pixels podcast. You can check them out over at youtube.com/Quest4Pixels today. That's the number 4, not 4 spelled out, Ron. Just the 4, just number 4.
Got it. 4.
Yeah. We also got Jonathan Brown, the man behind the music on this show, but also the Xbox Drive. You can check out his link tree, linktr.ee/pme.jib. Of course, the link can be found in the description of this podcast. Lee Navarro, the fearless leader of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. You can check them out over at phoenixoverdrive.com. And of course, signups are available over on Extra Life to join Phoenix Overdrive. So if you want to join us in maybe Rome, New York, maybe somewhere else this year, we'll have more details later this year. Head on over to phoenixoverdrive.com. He's got all those details. And Cwagmire, who humbly reminds you that the best babes are, in fact, Xenobabes. Of course, all the links to all of our ultimate producers can be found below, as well as our gold members, Adam K, Anna, Awesome Dave 1337, BobLoblaw, Bowsah, Brad Moore, Brian Reese, Cecily Carrozza, CrocoKyle, Dan and Luma, Dannohh, Emily O'Kelly, Jan32, Marcus O'Neill, Peje EP, and Tim Aulph. Thank you all again to all of our patrons. Y'all rock. And if you want to jump in with us, head over to patreon.com/carpoolgaming and choose the tier that's right for you. And now it's time to play us out. So, Matt, where can people find you on the internet, man?
You can find me arguing with Ron on Twitter and in the Discord at any time at Nugget
Nice.
Chocolate.
Excellent. And you don't want to say X, right? You want to say Twitter?
Twitter for life. Mm-mm.
Good God. Even though you like Resident Evil, because Mr. X, God, that's the connection. Rod, what about you? Where can people find you on the internet?
Savoy Prom on Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, backlogged. Savoy_Prime on Twitter.
Nice. And Fulia, where can people find you?
You can find all of my socials and my streaming platforms at foolishfuji.card.co. And you can also find me Foolish Fuji on PSN.
Nice. Well, as for me, you can find me on the old Twitter, otherwise known as X, at Ryan Turford. You know, also find us on Twitter at Carpool Gaming or X or whatever you want to call it. You also find me on PSN. I don't normally give out my PSN name because I'm kind of embarrassed about it, but I want more friends on my list. I'm fresh_obsessed because that's, in relation to an
Yes.
old grocery store in Canada called A&P.
That's great.
Yeah.
Isn't
you
there
can
wrong
find
with
me
being
on-
obsessed with fresh? It's fine.
And look, I like going to the grocery store and picking out the nicest apples and oranges,
Yeah,
okay? Like the
nothing wrong with
freshest
that.
ones.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
the
an
way it
excellent
should be.
name. Come on.
Exactly.
Come on.
To be fair, I changed it when they let you bring in name changes, but it broke all of my PS3 and Vita purchases.
Oh, no.
So I had to switch it back to the old name.
Oh
to fix it.
man.
Yeah.
No, not worth it then. Yeah.
No.
No, go back. Not worth it. Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, that's why I went back to the old name. I was like, screw it, I'll be fine with that. But anyways, you can also find us right here, youtube.com/carpoolgaming, and of course, podcast services around the globe. So for Fulia, Ron, Matt, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 138 of the PlayStation Drive, and we're out. Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Adios.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out this week's episode of the PlayStation Drive. Now, before you drive off, please make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow us at Carpool Gaming on socials. Don't forget to check out our awesome merch on carpoolgaming.com, and you can also support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, where you'll unlock all kinds of exclusive content. Links to everything are in the description.